to the Token and Hobbs Show on the Roads to Liberty Network.
Hello, everyone. You're watching the Roads to Liberty podcast. I am your host, Token, joined with my partner in crime, Mr. Dustin Hobbs over there. How you doing, man?
Good.
And we are joined today with a special guest host, former Libertarian Party candidate for U.S. Senate for the great state of Nebraska, Mr. Jim Schultz. What's up, man?
Oh, not much. Just trying to keep out of trouble.
Is successfully?
So far.
All right. Well, it's been kind of a busy weekend. Past week for the Libertarian Party in Nebraska. We had the Freedom Rally over in Lincoln. A bunch of us took part in a pride parade in Omaha, which I wasn't part of because I had to work. So there's my excuse. And we had a fundraiser down in Omaha as well. We got to listen to some comedy, got to do some karaoke, and that was a lot of fun. You were there, weren't you, Jim? Yeah, we saw you there. You're doing all that karaoke fun stuff. Did you do any singing? I had to leave, so I didn't.
After you set the bar, I wasn't going to go anywhere near that stage.
That's a shame. I mean, not every night. If you put your karaoke on the standard of what I can do, then nobody else would ever karaoke. So there's just no point in doing that. But like I was telling you before, I can only bring the house down once, and then I throw my voice out doing it, and then I just gotta call it quits after that.
Yeah, I threw my voice out just trying to talk to people.
Hobbs, so. if you had to karaoke one,
say again. You kind of cut out there.
Hobbs, if you had to choose one song to karaoke, if you had to choose one song to karaoke, what would it be?
Oh man, that is a tough one. If I could get a partner to sing it with me to do like the backup things, I think I might do "Total Eclipse of the Heart." But the funny one that wedding singer that's in those movies does, where he like cusses a bunch and you kind of like, wait, did he just say what I think he said?
Totally Eclipse of the Heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I totally I did Fat Bottom Girls by Queen. It was fucking awesome. I love it.
That's a good one.
Oh yeah, it was great. Queen. Doing a Queen song is always tough, but man, you gotta fucking love with some great shit. Jim, you at the Lincoln, you were the only one of us that actually made it out to that, right?
Yeah, I was at the Lincoln rally.
How was that? How did it go?
We had I've got animals crawling on me. It went pretty well. We'd reached outside of the Libertarian Party, made it more of a liberty rally instead of a strictly party function. So we had some speakers, who weren't really full-blown LP. And it was interesting to get their takes on, some of the liberty issues surrounding things. Medical marijuana. We had Senator Wishart speak about that. So it was good. I think, we managed to get some outreach to people outside of the party. Our new executive director, Scott Zimmerman, gave what I thought was the best speech of the day, just trying to rally the troops and get everybody moving forward.
For anybody who may be interested in watching that, after the fact, was any of that taped and put up anywhere?
It was taped. I'm not sure where it's put up. I'd suggest checking the state's site. Facebook has been really good with not giving me, the closer it is to home, the more they suppress it. I get absolutely nothing from the Lancaster County LP and very little from the state that just comes across my feed. So I'm apparently going to have to manually go out and tickle a few posts to see if I can get the algorithm to start recognizing those.
Yeah, that seems to be a big problem for a lot of people that aren't of a certain persuasion.
You know, I actually read an article today. Where is it? It's on Gizmodo, funnily enough, but I found it, and apparently Facebook has been using these different computer programs. One was called Night's Watch, and the other was called Storm Chaser. And essentially, what they do is they keep track of people who are sharing memes about Facebook or Mark Zuckerberg. Like they've got a list of apparently they've got a list out there of everybody who is making fun of them. And they're like, oh, well, this post is misleading. Let me fix that. And they'll like send you a message telling you that, hey, what you just posted is wrong. Why don't you fix that for us, please?
Well, the easiest way to get around having people make fun of you all the time is to stop clowning yourselves constantly.
Yep.
I mean, you would think so, but I mean, when you got these big tech companies that just want to be moral busybodies and tell people what to do and, you know, control what people see and what people say, they can't really do that, can they? They can't really just leave people alone.
Well,
they might think the wrong things.
There are betters. They know how to run our lives better than we do, and they just have to share their benevolence with us wee folk down here in flyover country with our low-sloping foreheads.
I mean, I for one welcome the coming of our new lizard overlords, with Mark Zuckerberg being the lizard king of them all. You think they can recognize that we're talking about him if we're not like in the visual format?
The number of times that I've had discussions about, you know, hey, we need a new toaster or something mundane like that in front of the Amazon, I don't want to say her name, sitting right over there, and then the next day my feed is flooded with ads for toasters. Yeah, he knows.
We've said his name and his company's name enough right now on his platform that they're listening in.
Yep, they know.
Yeah, they probably do. Zuckerberg, they're gonna send in the Facebook raids and get us.
Old Mark of the Beast chuckle fuck.
What are you doing, Karen?
I know. We were just talking about Google last week. You know how they're messing with their algorithm to promote quote unquote fairness and make sure another Donald Trump type thing doesn't happen again. You know, all these tech companies are pretty much doing the same thing. They're all messing with their algorithms. They're all trying to covertly manipulate people into thinking the right things and whatnot. So, I mean, it's no surprise at all that Facebook is keeping track of people criticizing them on their platform. You know, I said one of these, I don't know, man. One of these days, we've already had several rounds of Facebook purges. It's gonna keep going. So hopefully our page doesn't ever get the boot because we've put way too much work into getting us to where we are. I'd really hate for that to go away.
True, but on the same token, though, you also have to remember that you haven't really truly made it until you've been zucked at least once as a page.
As a page? No, it hasn't happened to us as a page. As individuals, yes, not as a page.
Yeah, I haven't made it yet.
I mean, how will I trigger the Trump flakes if I'm not allowed to post on Facebook anymore?
Do you have a?
I mean, that's the thing about.
Do you have like a cycle? Because it seems like one day you're pissing off the Trump people, and then the next day you're pissing off the commies, and then the next day you're pissing off the libertarians. But that's, you know, libertarians' worst enemies are libertarians, so that's like an everyday thing.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking the only time that I know that you got shut down was a libertarian. One.
I mean, I know.
One that I just
Go
tangled
ahead.
with yesterday.
Wait, what happened?
What? I tangled
What?
with the person who got you shut down just yesterday.
Oh God, really?
Yeah, I had to
She
unblock
came
this
out of a
person
hole in the ground?
just to go out there and
Was this
correct
like,
some misunderstandings.
was this an online thing or was it in person?
Oh, it was an online thing.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
it's floating around over that ridiculous LP social media groups. Silence is consent
Oh God.
campaign, which that it's right there in our platform that silence is not consent. So where do they get these people putting out the social media campaign that takes a progressive slogan from 5 years ago and recycles it, regurgitates it, and throws it all over the place?
I don't know.
Was she trying to argue in favor of it?
Oh yeah. Well, this person had a hand in it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, she's pretty involved in the LP social media, which is one of the reasons LP social media campaigns are always garbage.
Yep.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. A lot of people will say, "Oh, well, what are you talking about? Your social media is just shit posting all the time." Like, yeah, it's a shit posting page. That's what we do on Road to Liberty. We post memes that piss people off. Yeah, but I don't do that on the Libertarian Party of Nebraska page. I don't do that on the Sarpy County Libertarian Party page because I understand that those are official party platforms and whatever I say on those reflect on the party as a whole. I don't shit post there, you know? But I don't understand this nonsense. Like the party puts out this, oh, silence is consent, which is complete bullshit just as face value. And then they try to defend it. Instead of going, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's kind of dumb. They double down and go, well, how dare you criticize us? Yeah. We obviously know what we're doing. We're the Libertarian Party. We don't shoot ourselves in the foot or eat crow on a consistent basis. How dare you tell us that we don't know what we're doing? Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about, and she's terrible at that.
I was told to shut up and let them do their job without having to create safe spaces.
The fuck?
Yep.
Now, see, here's the thing about it: the people who run LP social media. This is a problem with libertarians in general. Libertarians have such thin skin; they cannot take any sort of legitimate criticism, even when they're blatantly and obviously wrong. I remember a few years back when they were posting a quote from the Church of Satan on Good Friday.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, it's just part of our series of highlighting libertarian tendencies in different religions. Like, okay, you couldn't do that for Christianity on Good Friday. You couldn't just pick.
Yep.
Okay, I get it. The Church of Satan, they're not really Satanists. They just say that to troll people. I get that. I know that. You know that. Go ask 100 people out there. 99 are going to think that the Church of Satan is Satanists.
But if they are just a troll group, then why is posting their religious statement have anything to do with your just sharing the libertarian views of various religions? It's ridiculous. As somebody who's actually run a campaign, everybody worries about the platform. Nobody ever questioned me about anything on the platform until we went off and had to cut out a special plank for sex work. We didn't create a special plank for plumbers, and we didn't create a special plank for airline pilots, but we have to create a special plank for this one. But no, outside of that, nobody ever asked about the platform. You read the platform, and it's actually something that huge numbers of people in this country would probably agree with. But you start throwing in the unforced errors of James Weeks getting up and stripping at the convention, and the garbage that comes out of the social media, and that's what candidates are fighting against. We're not fighting against the Republicans and the Democrats. We're fighting against the image that's being put out by people at the very top of our own party.
Yeah, it seems to be that a lot of people are very focused on optics up there in the top.
But they're not focused at all.
I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to word this. They think they're being like attention grabbing or edgy or something like, ooh, this will be great for optics, and it's like literally the exact opposite thing that you should do. They're trying to take like a Howard Stern style shock jock approach, like Nathan just said, posting a quote from the Church of Satan on Good Friday. It's like, this country's still like 65% Christian, right? Are you dumb?
Yes, they are, and they're wannabe edgelords. And there's, unfortunately, so much of our political discourse has come down to basically it's middle school girl behavior, where all you're doing is trying to piss other people off so that you can run to the teacher and say, they hurt my feelings, and, get somebody else in trouble. Whether it's the LP social media, Colin Kaepernick's doing the same thing. How many times have we talked about that? And how many times have we talked about race in the middle of that? We don't. We talk about free speech. We talk about flags. We talk about taste and the fact that you have none. We talk about everything else. We talk about blackmailing him off of the NFL, but we never get down to talking about race, because that's just the excuse that they're throwing out there so that they can play this little tattletale victim game. And, it's tiring. I'd love to have Facebook turn around and start addressing some of those problems.
Yeah, they're trying to be edgelords, like you said, and they're also trying to, have their cake and eat it too by, running to their safe space and tattling whenever somebody hurts their fifis. It's like, you can't be an edgelord and be exempt from criticism. It just doesn't.
No,
that's not how any of this works.
If you're going to be an edgelord and troll people online, then you have to thrive on the criticism. That's how you do it. That's how it's done. Like a true shitlord thrives on criticism. Like today. You guys see that post I made on the Road to Liberty page? Oh my God, it pissed the Trump flakes off. They were melting down like crazy. And I just loved it every second of it. But you know what? That's what a meme lord does. A meme lord offends people by making a point and then thrives off the criticism.
Yes,
that's exactly what it is.
Right.
But here's the thing about it. Here's the thing about it. The people that run the LP social media page, they think they're edgy, they think they're being witty or whatever, and then they get this huge backlash, and they deserve it because they post stupid shit. And then they get all thin-skinned and start, trying to shoot back at people for criticizing them. It's like, hey, I'm going to make this edgy comment. Hey, that was pretty stupid. Huh? You think that was... How dare you say that was stupid? You must not be a real libertarian. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's like when you go out there and you shitpost something, and then, if there's a hole in your argument, and then somebody finds that hole and sticks their finger in it, you're not supposed to come back with like a lengthy 2-page explanation on why that hole is just an oversight in the meme or something. You're supposed to come back with like a witty 2-word report like "know you" or "cry harder" or "get good, scrub," and then just let them sit there and be like, "Ooh, that token."
I love how we're sitting here explaining the art of a shit post.
And maybe some of these idiots are watching and taking note. I can just see one of these nerds in their fucking pocket protectors and like, oh, okay, so I'm not supposed to try to explain the meme to them. I'm just supposed to mock them and revel in their frustrations. Okay. Yeah.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. You mock them.
But the problem is when you come up with a serious post, or trying to discuss why something like silence is consent is totally against the libertarian platform and ideals, then's when you get the comebacks that should be on the the shit posting memes, because they have nothing to say for it. So then you get all of the, what was that? Try harder.
Yeah, like, get good scrub or cry
Get good
harder.
scrub. Yeah. It's I don't have a problem with the shit posting memes, because the shit posting memes they have their place, but that what should be the response to the shit posting memes now becomes, and then everybody's got to freak out and do the 3-paragraph explanation on what the hole is in this meme and yada yada yada. But then they come back in on a serious discussion, and that's when they apply the response that should have been given back over to the meme.
That's the thing about it, though. The like official Libertarian Party pages should be places for shit posting, and that wasn't that silence is consent. That wasn't supposed to be a shit post. That was supposed to be serious. Like, this is what libertarians believe, that if you're silent, then you're consenting. Like, no, dummy, we don't believe that. That's not what we think.
And when you go out and you post that in response to it, what you get back from them is now the try harders. It's the fallacies just fall from the sky on the whole. Anytime it seems, anytime anymore you get into any kind of discussion, it's just an exercise in how many fallacies can you fit into 20 words or less.
Well, you got to see firsthand back in 2016. You got to go to the LP convention down in New Orleans, and you got to see a lot of the shenanigans that go down there.
2018.
Is that? Oh, 2018. Not 2018.
I went in 2016.
I still have to go. I feel kind of left out that I'm the only one here that hasn't been to a national convention. But we'll see. Maybe 2020. We'll see.
I was actually pleasantly surprised. When I went down, I actually read the proposals, because they sent delegates the material, everything we were supposed to be voting on. I actually read it beforehand. And, when I ran across a platform plank that said that libertarians reject group identity, and the only thing that we stand for is individual rights, groups have no rights. And to me, that was a make or break platform. And I was nervous going down there that somebody would have some objection to that and it wouldn't pass. And if it didn't, I would have to reevaluate where I was going with the LP. But I was floored at how well that was received. There were, of course, we had the socialists down there. I was really impressed at how poorly they were received. I think they got 1.6% of the vote for chair. So I was actually, I went down with some really low expectations and came back pleasantly surprised. The only major disappointment was, adding in the sex work plank, which I don't object to the principle. And they had additional wording that would be added to an existing platform plank that just made it a little clearer that we're not just talking about selling cakes. We're talking about, all transactions, including sex work. But to pull it out and make a special case out of it, like I said earlier, we don't have a platform plank for plumbers. We don't have a platform plank for airline pilots. If we're going to treat it as it's just another job and people have the right to choose to go into that job, then we need to treat it like it's just another job and people have the right to go into it, instead of making a special example out of it, because that's the progressive ideal of breaking everything down into the smallest little subgroup you can in order to pander to them.
Yeah, and I think that's one direction that I heard during a debate a couple of years ago. I forget who was debating. What, it was on YouTube or something, but somebody on the far, like, intersectional progressive left made the point that that intersectionality is a good thing, because once you start breaking people down into their various identities, eventually you're going to get to the smallest identity of all, which is the individual. and I was just like, what? I mean,
well, you could just skip all that and
just go to the individual, right? We don't have to have the 1 year, 5 year, 10 year, 100 years of darkness that's going to come from left-wing intersectional politics in order to get to individualism. We could just go straight to individualism and cut out that middleman.
I mean,
but there's a lot of money to be made in pandering to those groups.
I mean, really,
and
what they're just...
It's a path to success too, because just look at how well, certain political groups and action committees and the entirety of the current Democrat Party is doing right now, playing these identity politics games and the grievance culture and the victimhood culture.
And really what that argument is doing, it's not even pointing out like a virtue of intersectional politics. It's pointing out a contradiction. Because, like, yeah, if you really go down the intersectional rabbit hole far enough, you are going to get to the individual. But once you get there, you've completely thrown away the whole point of intersectionality. So you just start with individualism from the first place, and you don't have to go down that stupid rabbit hole to begin with.
Yeah, and you
from the very beginning.
And you also won't have generations worth of memory of people looking back and thinking like, we're a voluntarious individual society now, but I remember Grandpa telling me stories about when the blacks and the whites were killing each other in the streets over something that happened 250 years ago. So maybe there was something to that. And then we're back to square one again, where everybody hates each other, and then they're playing the identities off of each other again.
Yeah, I think the whole goal really is to push everybody down, so that the elites, those who are calling the shots, can get their goals met with the least amount of resistance.
That's classic divide and conquer.
Yep.
No, that's exactly what intersectionality is. It's all about pandering to specific demographics in order to gain power. I mean, that's what it's all about. Do you think the Democrats actually care about all these little groups that they're pandering to? No, they're a means to an end. They're a means to gaining political power and using it. I mean, that's essentially what democracy is all these different groups trying to gain power over one another, so they can take advantage of the losers instead of being taken advantage of. It's a civil war of sorts, not in a violent way, but still in a very real way. Regardless, we look at the country right now. We're more divided now than we've ever been in my lifetime, certainly, and it doesn't look like things are going to get any better. The Democrats keep going further and further to the left, to the point where there's not going to be any common ground at all with them. The same with the right. They go further to the right, even though I do think that they're going to the right at a slower pace than the left is going to the left. But where's the common ground between anybody anymore? How many times do you get online and see people go like, oh, man, I had to cut ties with my parents because they're Trump supporters? or man, my best friend, they came out and they said Trump was terrible, and I just had to stop being friends with them. Like, I see that crap all the time. You know, it's not a rare thing. Like, people are legitimately throwing away relationships with family and friends over politics. And that's because both sides of the political aisle, the conservatives, the liberals, the Republicans, and the Democrats, have entrenched themselves in their camps so hard that there is no chance of any common ground being found at all. It's like us where does that leave us libertarians? We're just kind of left out in no man's land, throwing stones at both camps and not getting heard regardless. You know, it's there's gonna, if this continues the way it is, there's going to be a breaking point at some point in time where open outright violence between the both political factions is just going to be the norm, because honestly, how can any reconciliation be achieved now? It can't be.
Yeah, the way that I kind of summed it up a couple of years ago is that the political divide in this country is falling along a lot of the same, not the same lines, but the same kind of way that power structures are made in a maximum security prison. You've got these gangs that are lined up on, could be religious or ethnic or country of origin or whatever. And if you go in to one of these prisons, and you're like, let's say that you go into a maximum security prison and you're white. And so you've got like the Hispanic gangs and the black gangs and the white gangs. You don't want to be affiliated with any of these groups, but you know that if you don't affiliate yourself with, if you're white, if you don't affiliate yourself with the Aryan Brotherhood or whatever, somebody's going to kill you just because you're white. You didn't necessarily do anything to them, but they're like vulnerable target. So you have to team up with one of these undesirable characters for self-preservation purposes. I see that kind of that political polarization happening in this country, where a lot of people that are in the middle are almost being forced out into the extremes of either left or right politics, because they're saying, the middle isn't safe anymore. If I lean a little bit right, the far left is going to call me a Nazi and hit me in the head with a brick in the street. Or if I lean a little bit left, I run the risk of getting decked by a Proud Boy out in the street by mistake or something like that. So I have to ensconce myself into one of these far political camps just to have safety in numbers. And I see that only getting worse as we go on.
Yeah, it really is. It's the polarization of this country. Like, it's not just the polarization, it's the fact that there's nothing that you can retreat to that's not political anymore.
Right.
I mean, remember back to the last NFL season. The sports are now deeply political. We brought up Colin Kaepernick. Yeah, he made the NFL deeply political. What's that? That chick on the U.S. women's soccer team who came out and was talking all kinds of political shit, and she like dropped the flag on the ground or whatever, making things political. Like, there's nowhere that you can retreat to, like traditional areas of unity, like sports or music or movies or entertainment. They're all political now.
Right.
You can't
go to a concert. You can't go to a football game or a baseball game without somebody on stage or on the field doing or saying something that's going to piss off 50% of the audience.
Yeah, that's intentional. That goes back to that whole fact that we're operating in a middle school girls relational aggression bullying scheme.
Jim, you're sideways.
Am I?
Yeah.
You guys are sideways.
You are.
Let me.
This is amazing. There we are.
There you go.
But no, you're right. You used to be able to retreat to places that traditionally had nothing to do with politics, and people could just unite behind something like music, sports, entertainment in general. These were non-political areas where people of different political persuasions could. It doesn't. You go to, I don't know, Memorial Stadium, and it doesn't matter if you're a Republican, a Democrat, or a Libertarian. You're all Husker fans for the time that you're there. So it's a place of unity. A place of unity where you all get to look at the other team and make fun of them. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. But yeah, it's sporting events, music events, movies. Oh, movies especially. They're all political arenas now, and you can't get away from it. Everything's political.
Well, I think Professor Jonathan Haidt had some really good videos on the importance of sacred symbols. No matter what group, every group has sacred symbols, and I know the progressives will sit there and oh no, we don't. It's like I've stood outside the Westboro Baptist Church. I know damn well that there are symbols that the fact that they're doing things to them that just irritate the living daylights out of you guys. So, don't sit there and say you don't have sacred symbols. Every group has sacred symbols. And right now, in sports and media and things like that, the big thing is to shit on somebody else's sacred symbols and then, run to the teacher and say, oh, look, they're mad because we didn't do anything.
Because they're racist.
We're exercising our free speech and they got butthurt.
Yeah. When groups start intentionally seeking out the sacred symbols of other groups in order to crap on them, it's no, Colin Kaepernick and his fiasco mess is no different than somebody drawing a picture of Muhammad. You're just doing it to piss people off. You're not doing it to make any kind of statement or anything like that. You're just doing it because it's going to piss people off.
And that it's going to get you publicity and attention.
Yep.
Here's the thing about it. I would be more okay with it if they were just upfront and honest about that. But they tried to hide it in this high and mighty moralizing about, we're just starting a conversation. How many times have you heard that? We're just starting a conversation. Funny, whenever someone says they just want to start a conversation, they don't want to have a conversation.
Nope.
They never do. No. Because as soon as you start contradicting them on their conversation, then you're going to fucking feel the heat right there.
Yeah, then the knives come out.
Then the knives come out. But yeah, I would almost be more okay with it if they were just, straight up being shit posters. Like I said, if you're just trying to be a troll, I can respect that more than if you're trolling but trying to hide your trollishness as moralizing.
Yep.
Like the LP. They say stupid crap and then try to pretend they're moralizing. Whereas with us on our Facebook page, we post trollish shit all the time, but I don't try to pretend that we're moralizing it. We're doing it because it's funny and I like trolling people. That's the reason for it. It's just the way it is. But yeah, progressives don't have sacred symbols. That's nonsense. That's the most crap thing you'll ever hear. But try burning a great pride flag and see if they have any sacred symbols then.
Yep.
That's a sacred symbol.
Yep.
Just like, I'm all for free speech. Burn any flag you want, but understand that symbols mean things to different people.
Yes.
Like burn a gay pride flag, you're gonna piss off progressives. That's a sacred symbol. Burn an American flag, you're gonna piss off conservatives. That's a sacred symbol.
Draw a picture of Muhammad, you're gonna get a death warrant on your head. I think Salman Rushdie's still hiding, isn't he?
Probably.
There's poor French cartoonist that drew Muhammad way back in the day. One of them actually did get assassinated.
Oh yeah.
That's an old story.
Yeah, the Danish guy, I think he was. That
Yeah.
he drew Muhammad, and instead of a turban, his turban looked like a bomb, like the,
Yes.
the round cartoon bomb. And then, yeah, he got a hit squad sent to his house and was assassinated.
Wasn't that shooting in Paris? This was years ago. There was like a shooting at a
Charlie Hebdo.
Yep.
Yes, that was it. That was it. And that was about a cartoon about the Prophet Muhammad too.
Yes.
Yep.
You know, crazy stuff. You know, just another day doing normal life.
Well, when you start wanting to pretend that you're edgy and start crapping all over everybody's sacred symbols, you know, don't come crying when somebody stands up to it.
Yeah.
That's a different level, though. That's not standing up to him. That's going out and shooting people.
Level.
That's a different level entirely.
But
you know, it's one
knew,
thing. It's one thing responding to a
doing.
shitposter. Oh yeah, but it's not like it's one thing responding to a shitposter by shitposting them back. It's another thing to go shoot the guy.
Yeah.
that's entirely different. We're talking about two different things entirely at that point.
But in Syria, a suicide bombing is like the art form of shitposting. That's like high art right there.
The ultimate troll.
The ultimate troll, suicide bombing, or truck of peace.
I'm just picturing a suicide bomber with that troll face right before he blows himself up.
Oh, and now I'm looking at my door, just waiting for the hit squad to come to my house.
No way, they can't get to you. You live in the middle of the country. No one's gonna bother with you over there.
Yeah.
Have you been to Grand Island lately?
Nope, never, and I probably never will be.
They're here. I doubt they're watching.
So we should probably talk about it.
We should
probably talk about one news event before we finish this. We haven't even talked about any news at all. So I hear they arrested a billionaire pedophile. That was something.
Finally, 15 years after the fact.
Yeah, I thought Pizzagate was all just made up by the Russians in order to, yet here they are making arrests on the same names that were showing up in Pizzagate.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. This dude, everyone knew he's a pedophile. He's been a pedophile for years. Somehow, he served 10 months in jail back in, 2002? Because they cut some sweet-ass deal with him where they kept him out of jail. I wonder how many billions of his dollars went into making that happen.
Well, I'm wondering what the backstory is, because basically he's getting Harvey Weinstein. He's been on the inner circle of all of the powerful, rich, and elite for decades. They've all known he's been doing it. Same story with Harvey Weinstein. And then all of a sudden something comes up and, that bus is rolling over him with and backing up and rolling over again. So it's not just coincidence, I don't think, when people in those protected positions of power fall like that. They're after something beyond this. And, Harvey Weinstein kicked off the Me Too movement. It'll be interesting to see where this whole thing leads, because I'm kind of doubtful that it's going to go straight into a pedophile thing, because Me Too was basically done to derail the kid actor Corey Feldman. Yeah, he was getting ready. He was starting to make all the talk shows. People were starting to listen in on all of the the sexual abuse of children in Hollywood. And boom, here comes Harvey Weinstein, and all of a sudden, Corey Feldman can't get on anything. He totally dropped off the face of the earth. And call it conspiracy theory if you want, but I think that this is another. They're trying to create a distraction, or some other movement, social movement, to spin off of this. But the simple fact is they've known about it for decades. It's no secret. So why now? There's nothing suspicious about anything involved here except the timing.
Right. And I think the timing has something to do with the upcoming elections. They're just like they were in 2016. They're pulling all the stops, trying to dredge up these supposed sexual assault allegations against Donald Trump that like the lady that appeared on CNN a couple of weeks ago that just made an absolute fool out of Anderson Cooper on live TV. He's like, did nobody vet this crazy broad before we put cameras on?
That was my favorite, which is like, I think a lot of people think of rape as sexy.
Yeah, it's just
the look on his face when she said that. It's like,
we got to go to break. Yeah. No, but they're trying to.
She's like, and she was like, a lot of people think of rape as like this really sexual thing. It's like, rape? No, people don't think of it like that. And she's like, no, people think it's sexy. It's like, what? No, who are you? Why are you on this show? Who let you here?
Am I on an episode of Punk'd? Is that still a thing? No, but
who did that show?
Yeah, Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher just jumps out. You got punked.
Anderson Cooper, you got punked. Yeah.
So you guys bit so hard at that rape accusation, almost like you wanted it to be true.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. But like I was saying, they're trying to dredge up all these rape or sexual impropriety accusations against Trump, and I think that now that the Justice Department is in the hands of somebody that Trump may not be able to trust, Bob Barr, but I think he's a little bit more on Trump's side, and I think Trump's finally just had enough, and he's just like, okay, fine. Jeffrey Epstein, he's got a black book. It's a great black book. I've seen it. I know who's in it. You guys don't want to know who's in it, but guess what? Now we're gonna find out who's in it. Boom, here it is. And I think they're gonna just drag the Clintons. They're gonna drag Hollywood people. They're gonna drag Wall Street people. They're just gonna pull all of these names out of Epstein's little thing and just burn the whole motherfucker to the ground.
Yeah, I don't think though that it's coming from the Trump Justice Department, because these people are so embedded and they're so protected. The only way to bring them down is an inside job.
Yeah.
And it's not like Trump isn't connected to this.
Nowhere near what the Clintons and hundreds of other Democrats.
But
of course Trump.
It's not like all these fucking billionaires are all friends.
Yeah.
All these people, all these rich assholes know each other. They all go to the same parties. They all shake the same hands.
Yeah.
They're all connected. It's kind of a funny thing to see how many, billionaire pedophiles all these powerful politicians are connected to. It's like, how many pedophiles do you guys know? Probably none. But how many do these politicians know? They know all of them. They're all connected in some way, shape, or form. It's like, what kind of company do you keep? What is wrong with you?
Well, it really kind of lends a tiny bit of credence to that theory of like a metaphysical like blood price that you pay to get into these inner circles, where it starts out with having sex with an underage girl that just happened to get recorded. Okay, now you're in, and then the next thing you know, you're like taking part in some type of weird BDSM orgy, and then you're like drinking blood out of a 100-year-old skull that was dug up in Gettysburg or some crazy shit like that. And once you're in, and you can't get out.
Well, so leave it to Hobbs to take this conversation in a completely batshit crazy direction. That's crazy, man. Have you tried DMT?
No, but I want to. I really, really want to.
We should all. Is DMT illegal?
I think it was one of the ones that they
decriminalized
in Colorado. I think it was one of the when they did the.
Let's all take. We're taking the Road to Liberty podcast on the road. Let's go do it.
Just don't tell any of the Clockwork Elves any of your secrets.
No, all the interdimensional spaced out pedophiles are gonna have to stay away. We're gonna arm ourselves with machine guns. We're gonna take them out. Let's get Alex Jones in on this shit. We're gonna take them all out.
Can we? Can we please?
Yes, Hobbs. Yes, we can.
Awesome.
We're going on a crusade
against the Clockwork Elves.
This has been the most random episode we've done in a while.
Right.
Are these Clockwork Elves in the back of a pizza parlor?
They could be.
Okay.
They're everywhere.
Well, anyway, that's one less pedophile billionaire out there, at least. You know, I'm not nearly as optimistic as you, Hobbs. I don't think that anyone else is going down for this.
No, I think I'm just engaging in some wishful thinking.
He's going down. His whatever usefulness he provided to these rich and powerful politicians is long gone, and now he's going down. But he's not taking anyone else down with him. You think the Clintons are going down for this? No. These people, these slimy ass people get away with everything. They're not going down. You kidding me?
No, he'll cut some kind of sweetheart deal. Would be on like permanent house arrest on his posh private island down in the Florida Keys or something for the rest of his life and never have to worry about anything ever again.
That's what happened last time.
Yeah.
Apparently Jim Acosta was the lead attorney on the case back in the early 2000s. Cut him a sweet deal.
Yep.
A sweet deal. And this is a dude, he's not just pedophilia, but child trafficking.
Right.
You know, trafficking children for sex. That's what this guy was guilty of. He got 10 months in jail. He's got to register as a sex offender.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, he had to register as a sex offender, but he's a freaking billionaire. Guess how much he cares about that? Probably not at all.
Yeah.
You know, he's not like a normal Joe off the street where that's a death sentence. You'll never find a job again. Dude has $1 billion. He doesn't care. He doesn't need a job at McDonald's.
Nope.
He's already got it. He's got like the biggest mansion in Manhattan. Like I was reading an article today about how big this damn mansion is. Oh, geez. I'm hearing myself.
Yeah, it's like a $77 million mansion.
Yeah, like this guy gives a shit whatever label you put on him. You know, unless you put him in jail, he doesn't care. So put this guy's facing like 50 years in jail, which is not long enough for the crimes he's accused of, that he's guilty of. So put this guy away for life. Let him get butt raped by a bunch of fucking 8-foot-tall prisoners for the rest of his life, and, you know, give all his money to his victims. That's what I say. Throw this guy away. Let him live his own personal hell for the rest of his life, and divide up his wealth among the people that he brutalized during the course of his life. That's what I say.
Yep.
That's what they deserve. Fucking pedophiles.
Well, I agree with you. I don't think anybody else is going down for it, but I think there's a bigger story that we'll probably never hear. You know, behind why this came out now.
We'll hear it. It just won't be from anyone reputable.
Oh,
there is a story there.
I'll be keeping my ears to the info wars just to to keep you guys on top of it.
You know, InfoWars is absolutely batshit insane. But on something like this, on an issue like this, I would be more likely to believe whatever the hell it is that they turn up than what CNN and MSNBC turn up.
Yeah. Alex has been talking about Jeffrey Epstein for at least 15 years.
Yeah.
Like when it first popped off back in like 04 or 03 or whatever it was, I mean, he was on it and stayed on it.
Which is probably why he had to be silenced.
Right. I'm not going to go down the whole the interdimensional space self pedophile route. I don't think billionaire pedophiles have to be interdimensional elves to be believed to believe the crap that they go through, but just regular normal human monsters are believable enough.
Right.
Yes.
And even guys that aren't.
All right. I think
we're at an hour. Are we at an hour?
Yeah, we're running up against an hour. This was a very windy conversation, wasn't it? This is what happens when you go into a show where everybody is absolutely exhausted from a long day and nobody made any notes. You get shit like this. So if you guys like this, let us know, because then I won't bother putting all that effort into those notes that I like to make. We'll just do this shit.
I enjoyed this. I
let
like
us know what you think.
I like an unstructured freeform conversation. And Jim, thank you for joining us.
Back when me and Zach, back when me and Zach did the show, this was when I would ask Zach to do notes because I didn't have time, and then I'd get there and they'd be like 2 sentences on a note page, like, "Damn it, Zach, I asked you to do the notes." But I don't know. It always seemed to work out. Thank you, Jim, for coming on. This was kind of a crazy conversation, but thank you for being here. Is there anything else you want to say before we call it a night?
After interdimensional space selves, I don't think I can top that.
You really can't. That's kind of like the pinnacle of conversation right there.
That is.
All right. Well, few things for everybody. Remember, Roads, the number 2, liberty.com is the website. Our good friend Ben Backus has put so much effort into revamping that thing. Make sure to take a look at the bios because I hear they're pretty hilarious. Join our new Facebook discussion group, the Roadkill Cafe. And we've actually had a lot of fun on there. We're coming up on 6,000 likes on Facebook, which is pretty awesome. I've been pushing the page a lot, and we're getting up there. What do we else want? We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Minds. You can find this show just about anywhere that podcasts are found. I think that's it. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening to this topsy-turvy conversation, and I hope you come back later. Next week, I've got Brandon Finney of the Libertarian Secular Caucus coming on the next episode of Better Know a Caucus. After that, I've been in touch with both the Radical and Pragmatic caucuses. Hopefully, we can get that set up and bring you and keep that series going. If you like the Better Know a Caucus series, please let me know. I'll try to bring in some of the less reputable caucuses. It might be fun to get the Socialist and Audacious caucuses in here, but we'll see about that. All right. Well, that's all I got for you guys, everybody. As always, this is Token with the Token and Hobbs Show on the Road to Liberty Network. Y'all have a good night.